Hey guys, Dave Ramsey here. I'm here with the COO of Churchill Mortgage, Matt Clarke. Matt and I have been friends a long time. Churchill Mortgage and Ramsey have a 25-year relationship helping you get into a home, get a home sold, get a mortgage, and man, these are crazy times. It's wild out there. Do I sell while it's high? I don't know. I wasn't even thinking of selling, but no, and it's just like a roller coaster. It's got the thrills and the scares and the thrills and the scares, and it's crazy out there in this uncertain market, Matt.
It really is. We personally just made a decision to sell our home, thinking we would sell it, put it on the market, have a little bit of time to find something else. And I think within a few minutes, our home was sold, and we were homeless looking for a home right now. And it really put a lot of pressure on us. Thankfully, we had a solution that we could live in while we shop, but not everybody does. Homes are being sold so much faster than they ever have. But there are opportunities for sellers right now to harvest some of the enormous equity that they've built up over time. What's your advice to those people in terms of when to take advantage of the marketplace?
If you think you want to sell your home and you're planning to do that in the next 5 to 10 years, I would do it right now. It's an incredible time, and the only thing we're sure about markets like this is they change. And I don't think it's going to get much hotter than it is right now. As a matter of fact, it might be a little cooler right now than it was 24 months ago or 18 months ago. So really a good time to maximize. But if you're not thinking of selling your home and you think, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of money, guess what? You're going to spend all that money to buy something else. And you sell something that you like just because you think you can get out. But guess what? You sold in a high market, and guess what you get to do? You get to buy in a high market, in an up market, in a crazy market. So unless you're thinking of moving out of that property in the next 5 to 10 years, I would just sit there and enjoy your house and calm down. Just watch that equity come on up and just smile and enjoy it. But if you're thinking maybe want to get out of this sometime in the next few years, this is a good time. You want to get out, the getting's good now. You can do it. This is a great time to do that, and I definitely would. But I have talked to people, Matt, who were tempted and like, hey, I could. There's kind of a greed button almost. I could get some. Look at what I could think I could sell this house for this much, but then you got to go buy a house in exactly that same world.
And you have to buy a house expecting bidding wars, because there are multiple offers on every house. You're expecting the sellers to want to actually stay in the home after they close because they need the cash to buy a house that they want to move into. And so a lot of what's happening right now is people are having these leaseback situations, and they don't want to have a lot of contingencies on those offers because there are so many different competitive offers that they don't have to take an offer with the contingency to sell a house or any sort of financing. So it's a really challenging time. But like you said, if you're planning on buying your house anyway and you have a plan, it's a really good time to sell your house and execute.
And the other person in these uncertain markets that's coming up is the person who says, I'm just going to wait until prices come down. They're not. I'll help you with that, okay? They're not coming down. We have a shortage of houses based on new housing starts, based on the demand that's out there, based on new segments entering the population from Gen Z and the millennials. The demand is continuing to be high, the supply is continuing to be low. And there's only one time in the last 100 years or so that house prices have gone down. And they weren't down for very long, and that was 2006, 7, 8, right in there when we had that bubble, and they returned right back up. Even these markets that had like a bubble, and the bubble burst. You remember that during that downturn? And it was like, and the market just disappeared there for a second. Even those markets came back within just less than a year.
Oh yeah.
And they hadn't gone anywhere but up since then. So let me tell you what is going to happen. The rate of increase is going to slow down because supply is going to start to catch up gradually. And so people say, well, it's never going to be the same. It's not going to remain this hot. It is, but like we've seen a 32% increase one year. The next year we saw in the teens, predicting a 7% increase this year, and the normal increase is 3 or 4%. So you're going to see something along those lines happening, and you're going to see increases. So if you think that there's a bubble that's going to burst to the point the market's going to go down, I'm going to help you with that. I've been doing this for a long time. I got my real estate license in 1978, okay? They're not coming down.
Yeah, in almost every period over the last 50 to 100 years, home ownership, home values have outpaced inflation in almost every period. So it's a great hedge against inflation.
Well, and they're a component of inflation.
Yeah.
I mean, the Consumer Price Index includes house pricing, housing cost. And so it's a hedge in that you're riding up with inflation. So are we going to continue to see double digit? I don't think so. Are we going to see double digit increases in inflation? No, I don't think so. Long term, I don't think we're going to see double digit increases in housing. I hope we don't. Hope it slows down and calms down, just a steady clip, and you get to see a steady investment like we've had for many, many decades. And I think that's going to be good for you and good for the economy. But if you're waiting on prices to come down, I don't think you're going to get that one.
So if you are planning on selling, I would recommend that you talk to Churchill and get into our Home Buyer's Edge program. In that program, we'll look at your situation and fully underwrite you from a credit perspective before you need it. So when you do sell your house, you can go out and be ready to buy and quickly.
Because you could sell and then get in there and discover there's some kind of glitch.
Good.
And you'd be really in a mess.
You'd be in a real mess.
Yeah. So before you even put the house on the market, go get pre-approved, pre-certified as a buyer.
As a buyer.
And then that sets you up, and you go, okay, I got this equity and I got this certification. Now I'm dealing with strength to make my decisions. And you might discover that you can't buy what you wanted to, and you might choose not to sell because of that.
You might choose not to sell. You might choose to just sit still, or you might choose to take some of the cash and invest it in other things once you do sell and buy a smaller home. So there's a lot of options. It's just have a plan.
Talk
to a professional that's going to advocate on your behalf to help you meet those long-term goals, not just take advantage of a short-term crazy market.
That's a really, really good suggestion. So here's the thing. When you're dealing with something like your largest asset, for most people, their home is their largest asset, the more information you have, the wiser your choices are going to be, the calmer and more steady your choices are going to be, and you're not just flailing around out there. When you impulse in and out of something like a house, that's where you set yourself back financially, and it might take you a decade to recover from the mistakes you make. Slow down. Go get pre-certified on what you're going to buy. That informs you. You go look at the market and go, ooh, I wouldn't want to do that. Then you go, okay, I'm staying here. Or you go, yeah, game on. Then, okay, we're set. But you're doing all of that based on information, not based on I went to an open house one day and I just bought a house. That's not smart, okay? Slow down. Do this with wisdom, and you'll keep yourself from stepping into a bear trap, and those things will hurt you. Don't do it.